We are the Phronesis Project. I'm Rick.
This is Lauren.
And we're here to talk about Thor, Love, and Thunder.
The name is Mighty Thor!
The Mighty Thor?
The fucking Mighty Thor.
Jane Foster. Or Dr. Jane Foster. But never Lady Thor.
Right.
We get her, with the diagnosis. I feel like I could have done without the MRI scene where she's coming out of the tube thing. Like we could have just cut to her with a chemo bag on her, Those things are claustrophobic as fuck. They're scary.
I just imagine you probably want to film some parts that are like
emotionally tense.
Yeah, attached to that specific process of trying to get better. So she kind of picks up where she left off in Dark World in terms of her specific personality. Like she's that same upbeat.
Anyway, it's not that serious. Jane, it's stage 4. I have how many stages? 4 that we know about.
Optimistic.
She's a dork.
Well then, if it's color we need, let's bring the rainbow.
Bring the rainbow, is that a catchphrase or something?
In those movies, she's resilient in her own way where she's not like a superhero.
Yeah,
there's no quit. Yeah, there's no quit in her. And in this one, it's dialed up a little bit just because she has cancer. I feel like she's putting on even more of a face to be like, I'm okay,
Yeah, she even says she doesn't want people to treat her differently, and then she's running back to the lab to figure it out, and Savik is like, there's nothing I can do for you, so that's where she's worrying over how to make herself better.
She does come across a couple books that kind of speak to her.
Oh, yeah.
And then she goes over and she starts to get an indication of where she has to head towards to get the answers.
It's like Mjolnir is calling her, because it kind of sounds like a book's ruffling, and then you see the 2 books of Asgard, or the mythology, and then that's where she picks up the book, and we see the picture of Mjolnir, or however pronounced it.
Mjolnir.
Yeah, I can't say it.
Yeah, Mjolnir, and I like that because, those are the things that have happened in real life. System of a Down, Surge.
I picked a book and just opened to a random page, stuck my finger out, and it was, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. Suddenly it became a Jesus thing, and I'm like, oh my God, the self-righteous suicide became it just lent itself, and I'm like, oh my God, the universe literally wrote those lyrics.
That is
my
unreal.
finger just, it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing to take moments like that where it's like you and the universe are having this conversation. This experience is only meant for you. It's for your eyes only.
Yeah. And then we get to see her in her Mighty Thor outfit for the first time after the God Butcher comes to town, and we just kind of hear Mjolnir swooshing around, and then we kind of see it because had seen her before, and we don't even see her, we see her back facing the the tour guide about the broken pieces. And then what I like the most is that we see her throw it, and the whole pieces come to piece apart and go fuck up all the shadow demon things. And I was like, that's such a really cool use of Mjolnir, and bringing it back together and having it crack apart, and then she's able to reform it into the hammer. Thor is going all crazy. He's like, come here, boy, come here, Mjolnir. And it's not coming back to him, and he's thinking it's coming back to him. And then we get the reveal of her, which is not bad. It's literally just Thor, her in Thor's outfit. But I do like her hair a lot more with the blonde ombre look. Because I know every time Thor puts on his outfit, he's a little bit different. Not the hair, but just the outfit. So I did like that part with her changing and transforming into the Mighty Thor, and then that whole scene of them looking at each other kind of stupid with the fire burning in the back.
Yeah, I think she looks stupid. I don't like her blonde. I don't like her with the highlight or whatever, the eyeshadow. I don't like that. That's what happens when she picks up the hammer. If that's, I don't know. Maybe that's what the comics are. Maybe she just dyes her hair. But if that's the case, I would have loved to see let's just get a fucking, let's just get a white girl with dang blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you have to tie it up with a girl that maybe can't get that natural look, since she, since her genes are rooted in maybe the brunette hair, and the Jewishness has a different look than a space Viking look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you want Jane Foster, maybe you got to cast something different. But I think that's what's kind of funky about this whole movie is the hammer and the idea of being worthy and picking it up because you're worthy and using it.
That goes out the
as
window.
such. This becomes more of a protection spell that Thor
Yeah.
whispers to Mjolnir and be like, keep her safe. Don't let the bad guys come around her, kind of thing. And
Well, you also have to think that his mom was a witch, so he's got some of that magic in him because he can do the magic eyes like Heimdall.
yeah, but what I'm saying, it's still fucking stupid.
No, it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be whoever wields this hammer should have the strength of Thor.
I will say it's a creative attempt,
Mm-hmm.
at trying to have
Something different.
trying to have something passed on like that, but.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like the thing's a mantle. Not that it's played off like that, but I don't like that whole idea. It's a little hard to pull off because in the comics you have Thor losing the hammer as Fury whispers to him, Gore was right, and it's complicated, but I'm just trying to boil it down. The next worthy person is summoned, which happens to be Jane Foster, and those circumstances also kind of sound stupid as fuck too. And the big idea is Feige wanting more female superheroes. You look at Endgame, you look at that scene.
You get it.
Ask you, which one of those heroes are headliner superheroes? You got people like Wasp.
The Wasp, yeah.
Maybe Shuri's gonna be the Black Panther.
I like
maybe.
Shuri, yeah,
I
but
like
none
her
of
too.
them are. Wanda,
but she's not. She's not a headliner superhero anymore. They're pushing her to supervillain, right? Same thing, or maybe she's gonna bounce out. But maybe Captain Marvel's one. But Captain Marvel's a female superhero, great, but it's not well received, bro. It's not looked at that character the same way people look at Downey and Iron Man, or Cap and Evans, or even Thor and Hemsworth, and that's what sucks. Look at her female counterparts.
or Strange.
Some people feel kind of whatever about Olsen and the shit, and some people really love Romanoff and Scarlett Johansson. That pairing.
Yeah.
I'm saying the actions, the popularity of everything. I think it fucking matters.
No, it really does matter because you have that whole Captain Marvel thing, where nobody likes Captain Marvel.
That's why you're forced to kind of do shit like this, where you're like, fuck, we're gonna do Layla and Moon Knight. Fuck, I guess we're gonna start a Miss Marvel.
Fuck. Layla and Moon Knight.
I guess we should do the Mighty Thor. And what's great about this is that Natalie Portman is a quality actor, and
she's so good.
She knows how to play a role. It's just a matter of they might have limited her to what she could really do as an actress, because you see movies like V for Vendetta, and
so good.
And she knocks it out of the park. The other ones were, I don't know, Annihilation and
she was good in
Black
that too.
Swan.
Oh, so good in that.
She can do the fucking thing, She can be the badass, She can also be vulnerable, and I want to see someone that can tap into that, And maybe Taika's just a strong comedy writer, and doing those moments are just out of his element. I know it's Taika and Christopher Yost or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Another guy that's been with the movies for a while, for the Thor franchise. That's what's nice. You get this character. It's a little bit of closure, that a thread that you picked up again and weaved it back into the main storyline. You know what I mean? You didn't just kind of leave her off.
Yeah.
Right. You bring her back and you do the thing, and maybe you have her as Valkyrie or whatever the fuck it is. I really don't know. I see why they did this, and I see why they needed to include and inject as many female superheroes as they can, but what happened to the patience you guys preached about? It just feels.
Now they see how much money they're making. They're like, we gotta pump these babies out.
And dude, they have a lot of female characters that are fucking dope. A lot of them.
So many.
And it's just, it is X-Men, but there's a lot of them, and be a little bit more patient. Be a little bit more selective on the ones that are really gonna excite the fandom and help move the story into fun and exciting places.
Exactly.
Mighty Thor, I think the actress does a great job. It's just the circumstances and everything that are kind of questionable about it. But it's it's Taika trying to do this rom-com. I think it's his first rom-com in general, and why the fuck do it in Thor? Dude, what the fuck are you doing?
You could have done so many more cooler things with Thor than this. This is what we got.
But the Mighty Thor, seeing her kind of jump in, like I said, she has those characteristics that are a little bit different than those other heroes. She's got a little bit of Peter Parker in her, with the upbeat and the dork kind of a
mentality, or
just the dork kind of the behavior. I don't know.
She is so ready to be a superhero that she's trying to like you said, come and collect. She's trying to figure out like these catchphrases, and she just says like silly shit. Like she jumps through the thing and is like, "I'll find the rainbow" or something about a rainbow.
Yeah, it's just like, what the fuck?
And then when they're in a Omnipotent City, right after that, she's just like, "Eat my hammer," but like it sounds like it's voice recorded outside, like in a studio, and that's not her talking.
Heads are gonna roll.
Yeah, like it just kind of seems like fake.
That's the thing, when she's saying those lines, and even at the end where she's fighting Gore, and she's really like,
Eat my hammer!
powerful delivery of like the lines, like, eat my hammer, and Dr. Jane Foster, like, she has that. You see that acting is there's a bunch of things, right? It's like, what you do with whatever, with your hands, with your body, whatever the fuck it is, what do you do with the way you say shit, you know what I mean? With the dang wardrobe or whatever the fuck they throw on you. You have a lot to work with. You know, you can definitely make a meal out of each and every fucking thing. To see a character like this, she sounds like in complete control of that character and comfortable in that character's shoes. It's just a matter of timing and circumstance. Like, I would have loved for Natalie Portman to be in the MCU as a superhero. Like, do I love her being like the mighty Thor in this movie and like doing all this stuff? Like, you know, but I do like what they're trying to do in wrapping some of this shit up and bringing it back. And, you know, it's
Bringing it back together.
It's just tough. You know, like Thor's not replaced. Like, good news, everybody. Like, Thor's here to stay.
Until he's like 50 years old, because he's like 40 or like late 30s.
Seeing her, like, I guess, struggle and you know, kind of go back and forth between the powerful and vibrant mighty Thor, and then falling back into
regular human.
Yeah, struggling sick. Cancer patient. Like, so I wanted to see her lose her hair. You know, I didn't want to see like
with a full ass head of hair, and she's like got chemo, maybe radiation. We don't know, and she's using that throughout the movie. Like, you definitely see like that quirkiness throughout the movie, like there in the boat. Her telling him she's got cancer, but you get that energy from both of them when they're out there. Like, she's just like, I got cancer, I'm just kidding, like that nervous.
And I think that's what's the problem is, like, the tone, and what's wrong with the tone is that Taika is mixing his intention of, like, not trying to make it too sad with his idea for the story beats, with like, oh, we're gonna make it about this. You know, so in his mind, he's like, you know, it's gonna be it's still gonna be an uplifting, you know, movie that's not too down. But in reality, it's like you kind of got twisted up in the shits.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, it's a little awkward, and it's like they were supposed to be together for how many years, and like it shouldn't be this awkward. At least I don't think so. And I mean, they work well together, and her when they go to the shadow realm, and her figuring it out, and you know. Then she's, you know,
she's smart, right? She's intelligent.
Yeah, well, she's freaking, like, what?
She applies it.
Yeah.
She's not just like a bookworm. She can, like, take the smarts and then, you know.
Literally apply it. And that's where she threw the Stormbreaker out or whatever. And she's wrapped up in Gore is telling her, oh, you're sick and your gods have failed you. I think that's one of, like, my favorite scenes, even, like, with her just chilling there. And he's telling her all of that. And she's just like crying, and she doesn't want Thor to get the thing, and she's fighting, and then they get thrown back to New Asgard, and she's just like literally dying on the grass, and then we see her in the hospital, and then she looks fine, but Thor's like, you can't use the hammer anymore, and then the hammer basically comes to her and is like, look, I protected you for this time, and he needs your help now, because, you know, now he needs protection. And we see her on the Pegasus horse, which was so cool, coming in to help Thor and the kiddos beat Gore. And I really like that. I really appreciate that moment. What I have difficulties with is, you know, her dying in the Eternity place, and she's not really in a battle. Like, the battle's over, you know?
Well, I think she did die in battle. It's just that the moment he opens the Eternity door, it's like it pulled everybody in, and it made that whole room, you know?
Yeah.
I think she was dying. But, you know, I'm not, like, I'm just throwing out, like, you know, little counters. I'm not.
I guess,
I didn't make it. I didn't make the fucker, you know what I mean? Fucking movie, I didn't write it.
I think you are right, though, because, like he said, you're dying, and she is dying, and we know that she is dying, and that every time she uses the hammers, it's draining of her earthly body of trying to fight this thing, so it's using all that power up.
I thought when she pulled the sword pieces to the hammer, and when she looked at Thor, like, gave me the feeling that they knew this was one of the final moments she'd be standing upright.
Basically.
Fuck, like, you know what I mean? You're definitely...
We're not getting what we want,
yeah.
basically, and that the necro sword, right, it's so powerful that it's gonna drain the last bit of her because it's poisonous, right? So she's getting some of that when she's destroying it, I'm assuming.
And that's the thing, you know, she dies, she goes to Valhalla and shit, and, like, you know, she sees Heimdall. And again, I would have loved to see Odin narrate this as he did the other movies.
So
and then
good.
Odin is one of the people that meets her and is like, you know, it's a little bit of a redemptive moment for him, as he was kind of like a little like crass towards her in the dark world, and maybe he can be a little bit more sweeter and be, you know, thank you for looking out for my boy and saving
Called
the
her
thing.
a goat at the dinner table.
Yeah, and it's just like it would have been, you know, it could have been sweet.
It would have been a sweet moment, but we didn't get that, unfortunately.
Because Anthony Hopkins, like,
so good.
I think he's good in this whole fucking franchise.
So
it is my birthright. Your birthright was today.
As a child, cast out onto a frozen rock. If I had not taken you in, you would not be here now to hate me.
Good.
But he has such a presence as Odin, and he's old as fuck, and he commands the shits when he's on.
He delivers the line so well. Like I believe that you were a god.
Yeah, he's just like, again, he's just a great actor, and you wanna use him, but maybe that cheapens like Ragnarok. But I think if we're gonna be cheesy like as we are in this Love and Thunder, then why the fuck not? Just one more.
Cheese that shit up with some queso.
That's the shits. I would have loved to see that.
There was a lot of things that I wanted out of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we all wanted out of that. But what's the one thing that we got when we did see her?
We got a flashback of little Jane. With her mom, and that we find out that
Quill.
Oh my god, exactly. That's exactly what I thought of in the movie.
That's weird how they don't
put that together or whatever. But yeah, I did remember that when we were watching the movie, that we get to see her mom who has cancer. So then it's a genetic thing, you know. So her mom being sick and is like, "Don't worry, don't ever be afraid, because you're never alone," kind of thing. And then we see her going through her own struggles. And then she gets, you know, Mjolnir, and she thinks that it's going to cure her. It's going to be this cure-all. And it doesn't end up being that way. It ends up killing her faster. And, you know, and then Thor is, like, super depressed because now they're finally back together. And he wants to make this work. And he's like, no, don't come. Don't save me. But then, you know, she's called to the hammer. That's because that's part of being Thor. Is, like, it's going to know when it needs to go help. And it knows that Thor is in trouble and, you know, the world needs saving, basically.
So far, the Mighty Thor, like, it's okay. It's not the best, but...
Yeah. I like the whole narration of Korg after when she did pass, and it was like, oh, let me tell you the legend about Mighty Thor. I did like that part, because then we see the statue. I don't think she did everything that he was saying. I think it was definitely a team effort of, like, oh, she sent the kids back, because Thor's the one who threw Stormbaker and was like, Axel, take the kids back. But it was like, oh, she did this, she helped, but you know, she was a part of it, but this was a whole team effort. Her performance, she's just good. I do like her. Could have they done more with her? I think so. They could have done more with the outfit, less with, you know, the sick thing, more with the sick thing, you know, if you wanted her to be bald, or blonde, you know. It's just depending on what kind of Thor you wanted. But this is what we got, and I'm not disappointed or, you know, super in love with the fact that we got Mighty Thor. And at first, when they released this was going to be the title of the movie, I wasn't happy at all. I thought this was going to be really stupid. But I am okay with it.
Yeah, I just think she's being set up for maybe Secret Wars, maybe come back as Valkyrie.
Oh.
She's definitely not done, but yeah, we'll see what they do with her.
Hey, can I run something by you?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, when we get to the bad guy, what about if I had, like, a cool catchphrase, like, eat this hammer? Or, like, check out my hammer. Like, no, I'm workshopping it.